It's Nolan. What's going on, y'all? It's the kid J Nolan here. All right, y'all. We're going to get into this whole Terrence Howard situation, man. Unfortunately, it seems like Terrence Howard has had a very rough shake in Hollywood and just in TV and film in general throughout his career. I mean, you would think somebody of his caliber, somebody that's had classic films, classic TV shows, going back to when he was probably just like a teenager, fresh out of college, even further back than that. I believe he's been in the industry basically his whole life. And unfortunately, it seems like he hasn't made a fraction of what he possibly could throughout his career based on either bad deals, bad business decisions made by agencies, supporting small projects that ended up launching into huge ones and not having any sort of equity in them. And it just exposes the real thing that goes on in entertainment, because if Terrence Howard is coming out and saying this, during the pandemic, we had Gabrielle Union come out and say, you know, folks don't understand how it is in Hollywood and how we're regular people just like everybody else. You see us on the screens, but we're going through tough times too because the work's not coming in. And even outside of just the pandemic slowing down people's work, now that things are back open, things are back filming, we still don't see a lot of the stars, the household names, especially from black actors that we know and love. We don't see them getting the calls to all of the films and all of the projects that they possibly could be a part of. So yeah, it is becoming an issue. It has always been an issue, but now the actors are coming out and voicing it, right? We had, what was that other guy? He had to give up his house and stuff like that. He's like a celebrity stylist and stuff. He does a bunch of stuff like that. I forgot homie name though. So we're now seeing the smoke and mirrors are starting to be shifted. They're not being completely removed from entertainment, but they're definitely being shifted. The mirrors are definitely getting moved from one angle to the next, and some of the light is starting to seep out, or seep in, I should say. The general public is starting to see, you know, oh, we thought these people were multimillionaires, and some of them are. But some of them might have accumulated multi-millions, but you also got to keep in perspective that a lot of these people, they know just about as much as we do about money, right? They have to hire people. They got to hire agents. They got to hire financial advisors. A lot of their financial advisors run off on the plug on their ass too and take their money, right? They make bad investments with family members and friends. So they go through real shit just like anybody else. They take their lumps, bumps, and bruises, and then they find themselves on the other side of it needing some assistance and help to try to get back and rebound. Number one, we're going to get into Terrence Howard. He did a press conference today saying that he is suing his talent agency, CAA, which is one of the biggest talent agencies in the world, period. They represent actors, rappers, singers, models, TV models, people that you see in commercials, magazine folks, across the gamut, right? Esports. So he comes out and he lets it be known, I'm not fucking with y'all. I need some restitution. I'm going at y'all head. Terrence Howard suing CAA over Empire salary. He says sooner or later you got to stand up. Okay? We're going to read some official documentation here from Variety, which is one of my favorite sites when it comes to news. Empire star Terrence Howard is suing CAA for breach of fiduciary duty, saying the talent agency allegedly asked him to take a lower amount of money for the show. He outlined his claims in a Friday press conference. Howard played music mogul Lucius Lyon for 6 seasons, as y'all know. Whether or not you liked Empire, you thought it was cool the first couple seasons and it got too outrageous, whatever your thoughts are about it, he had to go up in there and report for work. It was produced by Imagine Entertainment and what was then 20th Century Fox TV. CAA also represented the producers of Empire in a package deal that was lucrative for the agency, he said. So there was some collusion. CAA represented the producers of the show, so they were basically cutting corners and basically telling them to take less money so that it would be beneficial for their partner. As such, Howard's legal strategy asserts that the agency did not act in his best interest by pushing for a higher salary because they had a profit participation stake through this package, right? Using him basically as collateral damage, like you could get our talent, you know what I mean? Y'all could get y'all show and we all eat without telling him that that was the play. So he ended up being undermined. Since 2020, the practice of talent agencies receiving package fees on TV series was banned by the Writers Guild of America, and that waged a nearly 2-year battle against Hollywood's largest agencies to reform this decades-old practice. So this is something that's been in practice for years, right? Before Terrence Howard, before so many others, but just within the last couple of years, this policy was put in place to say that they could no longer do it. So now that he understands that this policy is outdated and that it no longer applies, he like, shit, y'all niggas owe me some bread. So the complaint, which was filed late Friday in Los Angeles Superior Court, they assert that Howard was mostly in the dark about this packaging fee. It notes that Howard was paid less than Mad Men star Jon Hamm and Kevin Spacey during his run on Netflix House of Cards, despite the fact that Empire had significantly more viewership than those shows. The complaint also faults CAA for representing the Empire co-creators and executive producers Lee Daniels and Danny Strong, as well as Howard, right, all together, as well as other actors in the series. The complaint does not cite a specific dollar amount for damages, but it does seek compensatory and punitive damages. Lee Daniels, you got some splaining to do. A lot of people been going up for Lee Daniels, but somebody who has not is Dame Dash, right? Dame Dash invested into Lee Daniels very early on in his career. He was trying to get his shit off the board, off the ground. I think the movie was, what was it, The Woodsman? Dude got out of prison, went to a halfway house or something like that. Dame Dash invested into Lee Daniels to get that film off the ground. Lee Daniels ran off on the plug, never paid him the money back. Millions of dollars, right? Promises to make him whole. Goes off, gets this Empire situation, right? He's still promising to make him whole. The show takes off, becomes a massive success. Lee Daniels gets all this press, all this success. Everybody's looking for him. He's the new guy in Hollywood. He no longer wants to pay Dame Dash. Dame Dash went on multiple interviews saying, Lee Daniels, you owe me money. Popped up on him a couple times, right? A lot of people say, oh, Dame Dash is angry. He's fucked up. You know what I mean? He broke. He going out sad. No. When people evade you, you got to pull up on them at some point, or you just say you cool with the loss. But not everybody's cool with the loss, especially when you come from the streets and nobody ever played you in the streets because you knew what you could do, right? And then when you get to this corporate space and people think they could play with you about your money, some of those old instincts gonna come out. So unfortunately, it seems as though Lee Daniels has been out here scamming people for years. Not to mention how Monique, you know, had her own issues with Lee Daniels about her role in Precious and how they tried to, you know, play her out for her equity in the production and whatnot, because she didn't want to do press regarding the film. And she felt like me doing press, that's an additional fee. I didn't sign on for that. I signed on to do my job and act and be the face of the film. And Monique has cashed in on all those apologies from Lee Daniels, Tyler Perry, fucking Oprah, all the motherfuckers. So turns out she was right. So that goes to show you Lee Daniels been out here snaking for a minute. And it works to my, it doesn't work to my benefit to say this at all, because Lee Daniels may produce a show that my music could easily fall into, and you know, they may say, fuck that nigga. We got to spread the truth. We got to unveil the shit that be going on behind the scenes, man, because all the creatives deserve to be paid. The creatives are the face, the voice, the lifeblood of all of entertainment. These motherfuckers that produce it, yeah, they put money up, they do different things. But based on what the talent actually gets paid and what the producers and all these people take home and all these studios and shit, nah, it needs to be more. It needs to be ramped up. Y'all motherfuckers need to be pressured. Terrence Howard continues. Not only did it become abundantly clear that his agents led him on a path to rely on information that was misleading, he discovered that this was the result of the fact that CAA was not acting in his best interest, as I said, but in the interest of their own financial benefit, as well as in the interest of the production companies, right? Under normal circumstances, had CAA not been packaging talent, and had CAA not been concurrently representing those production companies where the sole financial interest would have been that 10% fee from the booking compensation, they would have most certainly fought for Howard in a manner that most producers are accustomed to seeing CAA agents engage in, which means they would have tried to get him the highest fee possible to make sure that their 10% share was going to be as high as possible. But since they were being paid on all fronts, they were getting paid off of Terrence Howard, they were getting paid off of other actors on the show, plus they're getting paid off of the actual production company because they're representing them. They like, shit, we don't care what y'all pay the actors. we gonna eat regardless. So yeah, that is fucked up. At the news conference, Howard asserted that the situation he experienced also has racial overtones. He says, I can't say for certain this was a racial issue, but I can't imagine another counterpart, a white counterpart with the same accolades, name recognition, and numbers that I had, receiving the lowball pay that I was receiving. He says, I drank the Kool-Aid. I believed that I was going to get paid or that I was getting compensated properly, but I wasn't. I just didn't want to piss off CAA and Fox. They're big companies to go to war against. But sooner or later, you got to stand up because they're just trampling over the rights of the artists. He says that though Empire eventually amassed more viewers than Big Bang Theory, he was paid less than the sitcom star Jim Parsons. His pay started at $125,000 and then it topped out at $325,000 per episode. Right? And this is where I know a lot of people get funny because they're like, shit, I wish I could get paid $125,000 an episode. I wish I could get paid $325,000 per episode. Right? I get it. However, there's a lot of different things that go into play when these actors accept these roles. When you get put onto a show like Empire that goes on for 5-6 seasons, that's the only show you can do. You can't go out there and get another movie role. You can't go out there and do another show on another network. You can't do another show on the network. This is your only income. So although he might have made millions of dollars off of the show, he's looking at it like shit. All the work, the other work that I surpassed, because you got to think, before Empire, Terrence Howard was kind of chilling, but Empire put him back out there, which generated inevitably more interest in him, where he could have done a feature film. He could have did other TV shows. He could have took on hosting the Oscars, different stuff. But for whatever reason, those things were not afforded to him. And I'm quite sure it was because of no compete. There's a lot of business stuff that goes on, man. And these shows, these production companies, they want to keep you to themselves. When you're getting the peak of your fame and your notoriety, they want to make sure that people come back and watch Empire every week. No, we don't want you spreading yourself too thin to where people say, well, shit, I ain't got to watch Empire. I can see him in the new show. I can see him in the new movie. Nah, you want to see Terrence Howard as his celebrity is at his highest? Come watch us every week, which, again, restricts his cash flow on top of the agency not fighting for him to make what he could have earned. He probably could have got 3-4 times what he was making. The press conference was held at the Los Angeles offices of the Cochran firm, whose lawyers James Bryan and Brian Dunn are representing Howard, along with Carlos Moore of the Carlos Moore Law Group. Now, to take things even further, Terrence Howard also recently spoke about how he was compensated for Hustle and Flow. He got paid even less for Hustle and Flow, by the way. So let's play the audio of him doing this news interview.
What comes to mind, though, when you think back on these days and what was going on in your life? Did you have a gut feeling that this movie was going to be really transformative?
No, check this out. I made $12,000 for doing Hustle and Flow. And then on top of it, what Paramount did, instead of putting my name as Terrence Howard performing the songs, they put performed by DJ. Well, they own DJ. So guess what? The performance royalties went to Paramount. They went,
wait a minute. They didn't go to Terrence Howard. They went to
$12,000. That's all I ever made from Hustle and Flow. Everything else went right back into Paramount. So now I got to sue Paramount or send them a letter.
Are you serious?
I got to send them a letter to say, hey, you guys owe me about 20 years worth of residuals and performance royalties. But I didn't know. I was just trying to pay my rent then. I made $6,000 doing Crash. Crash didn't.
I remember the movie Crash, yes.
This nigga been getting ripped off his whole career, bro. He made $6,000 for Crash, which was kind of like an indie film that blew up. Hustle and Flow, another shoestring budget movie, kind of like Friday was for Nia Long and everybody. Blows the fuck up and just gets out of control. Wins Oscars, Emmys, all this shit. And he's sitting back like, damn, I made $12,000 and all this money is being exchanged. Where the fuck is my cut?
That's right. That's right.
The business don't pay actors anything. That's why the strike is going on. Actors are struggling.
As you and I were kind of joking earlier, it's hard out here for a pimp.
Yeah, it is hard unless you do it right.
Unless you do it right.
And I've never been good at being a pimp. You know, the pimp has to have a heart of stone. You know, and mine is made of flesh and blood, and like everybody else. So I'm like, why can't we be fair to each other in the industry? Why is there this lack of equanimity? You know. So my wife started a thing called myholly.app, and it gives an opportunity for actors or entertainers around the world to now audition on their phone. You don't have to go to Hollywood.
Right.
You don't have to go to Tokyo or Singapore.
Let me stop that there, man. That's dope as fuck, which I don't understand. And again, if you're not in the industry, you don't know. Having these opportunities for actors to actually audition through an app, which there are apps out there where you can audition, but for big roles and stuff, eventually you're going to have to fly out to Hollywood, or if you're not an Atlanta native, for certain projects that are filmed here, you're going to have to fly out here to audition, and auditions are not paid for. When you go to Hollywood, when you come to Atlanta, when you go to New York, you go to these different places to audition, wherever it is that you're from. If you're not from these big cities, you got to travel there. You got to get lodging. You got to find somebody to stay with or get a hotel or whatever it is. And if you're taking your career path seriously, you could be unanimously going to all these different places for opportunities. And when I say opportunities, it's not like, oh, it's black and white, you're going to get paid. It's an opportunity for you to be seen and audition, right? And they send your ass back home. You don't get the role. Nobody reimburses you. Nobody pays you back. Nobody helps you out, right? So if you got to pay $1,000 to go to Atlanta, you got to pay $1,000 to go to LA, you got to pay $1,000 to go to New York. Another role is in fucking London because you want to try to get into the British scene too. You know what I mean? You done spent $5,000. Who's paying you back? Plus you got rent, kids, whatever the fuck you got. Who's paying you? Who's helping you out? And you're hoping to land one role that's going to make everything okay again. So yeah, I think this is dope that him and his wife are working on this.
Or any place. You can actually stay at home, stay in school, audition, keep your day job, and accomplish your dreams.
So, Terrence, what, you're taking out the middleman, so to speak,
Completely.
are you not?
I want to get rid of the agents. I want to get rid of the managers. I want to get rid of the unions. SAG has done nothing. They sit up and say they're here for us. Now they're talking because they haven't gotten their money. When I went to SAG 5 years ago saying, hey, Fox stole my image from Hustle and Flow, and they're monetizing it. SAG didn't do anything to help me. They waited 9 months till the statute of limitations got, oh, I'm sorry, you definitely got a statute of a rights of publicity issue. So they're not here to help the actors. They're here to make their money. So we're starting a community of international artists.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all, he's absolutely right. I didn't know this situation, but for what he went through with actually recording that Hustle and Flow album, remember, it's not just a movie. They made a soundtrack to that fucking film. The soundtrack was released as an album. Let's just go over some numbers here. So Hustle and Flow, let's just go box office on that. Hustle and Flow made $23.56 million. Now, how much did the soundtrack do? Do we have any numbers on that? When this was released, this used to be when record sales was really moving. Okay, he's featured on one. Y'all don't see this, but I'm just doing my due diligence. Whoop That Trick was a solo song of him, aka DJ. So that's 2. Burn Guys on a skit, number 3. We in Charge. Hustle and Flow, It Ain't Over. Man Ain't Like a Dog. So he's on probably like 6 songs on the soundtrack, rapping and doing his shit. And he got no royalties off of it. Okay? Now, the album soundtrack sold over 300,000 copies. Because he was labeled as DJ, not Terrence Howard, that means every other artist on this soundtrack got their royalties except him. So T.I., PSC, Lil Boosie, Webby, 3 6 Mafia, 8 Ball, MJG, E40, Trillville, all these folks, Boys in the Hood, they got their royalties, they got their money. Terrence Howard, however, all his royalties went to the character DJ, which Paramount owns. And SAG-AFTRA, if you do anything in TV and film, especially if you're featured in the soundtrack of a movie, they're supposed to be keeping track of that. You know, they pay out retroactive royalties to SAG-AFTRA members. There's certain artists out there, that music artists, that never signed up with SAG-AFTRA that have actual royalties waiting on them that have never been claimed because their music was used. So it's a lot of fuck shit that be going on in the industry, and we don't be knowing. And we don't be knowing no better when we come into the industry because we just know what we got. We have a talent. We have a desire to be successful, but we don't know what it really takes to be successful. We think getting on the CV screen is successful. Getting in the studio, working with people, going to the BET Awards, going to fucking, going to the Oscars and getting suited and booted. You going home looking fucked up or being fucked up even though you was looking like $1 million in public with a Versace suit on. I fucking hate this shit, man. And this is why I do what I do on my channel. This is why I've made so many videos. If you go through the catalog of my videos, it can range from music industry beef to music industry lawsuits to people that got done wrong in their contracts to people like Terrence Howard coming out and saying what he's saying. It's a reason why I do what I do. You know what I mean? It's not just to be salacious. It's not to take stories and run with them and create narratives. I didn't get into this shit for that, man. If you go back to my original content on YouTube, it was all music, business, education based, right? But unfortunately, when you're trying to educate people and that's your primary take and you come in with pure heart and pure intentions, that shit wasn't getting no views. So I said, well, shit, let me start talking about people in the music industry using their stories, using the Meek Mills of the world who are suing their labels, trying to get out of their contracts, the Uzi Verts, all of these folks. Let's talk about what they're going through, right? And since I work in the music industry and the music business and I'm getting my music placed in TV and film, I'm ghostwriting for artists, I'm doing all this shit behind the scenes. Let me use the knowledge that I've accumulated, you know what I'm saying, to even get where I'm at. To be like, okay, well, if I'm facing bullshit in the space where I am, I can only imagine what they're going through when there's millions and billions of dollars on the line and they're only getting a small cut. So again, I just want to let y'all know the intention. I empathize with Terrence Howard in this situation because it's fucked up. He should be way more richer than he currently is. 300,000 copies in the real music industry. We're not talking about stream equivalents. We're talking about niggas that went out there and paid down there $15 per album on that motherfucker, man. You know how many millions that is? Well, shit, let's break it down. Let's break the motherfucker down. They made $23 million up front on the movie, right? We know that. He made $12,000. He got 0 royalties off of the soundtrack, right? 300,000 copies times, let's just estimate the album was $15. It's $4.5 million that was made off that soundtrack. That's all I got for y'all on this one, man. Let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the post notification bell for all updates. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I hope Terrence Howard wins. You know, he's suing the Hustle and Flow. He's suing CAA agency. I hope he wins both cases. You can say what you want about him as a person, whatever you want. That's cool. Hey, man, I want to see the motherfucker win just so these motherfuckers know moving forward that y'all got to pay. Y'all got to be proud to pay. All these strikes, all this shit that been going on, it's a reason why them strikes going on, man. If you like and love entertainment, if you can't go a day without watching a movie or a TV show, listening to music back and forth on your way to work, you should be passionate about the motherfuckers that you are engaging with, the people that are on the screen, behind the mic, doing all of this shit for y'all. All right? Much love and respect. I'll see y'all later. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rags. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef on computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I've been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.